In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the importance of listening. Now, it really is an art, and we're going to talk about that today. And here's what I want you to think about. For most of us, we're trained to think, especially in marriage and especially in times of conflict, that talking is the most important thing. We want to express our thoughts, we want to express our feelings, we want to make sure that our spouse understands all the things that they did wrong. We're like the great debater. We're in a courtroom and we're going to present our case and we're going to prove why our spouse is the jerk. But what we're going to realize is listening has to be a part of a conversation, right? Otherwise, it's not a conversation. You got to have one person talking and one person listening. Otherwise, there isn't a conversation. You're both just talking over each other. So here's just a couple of important things to keep in mind about why listening is so important for you to have healthy communication and a healthy marriage. So here's the first thing. Listening is important for healthy communication. So like I said before, it is not going to be helpful in your marriage if both of you are talking at the same time. If you're both arguing, you're both stating your case, and you're both just talking. As you can imagine, in that scenario, there's not going to be any communication because neither of you are listening. You're both just talking over one another. So listening is a key to healthy communication. Now here's the next thing. Listening is not a passive response. I think a lot of us fall into that we're thinking talking is the position of power. As long as I'm talking, then my perspective is being, put forward and I'm in the position of power. Choosing to listen or not to speak is like we're putting ourselves in a passive, less powerful position, and that's just simply not true. Because here's why. The next point is listening is an active response. So if you're going to do listening well, if it's going to be this work of art that it can be, then when you are listening to someone, then you're active in your response, not passive. Here's what I mean by that. Maybe you've heard the phrase active listening. It's that when your spouse is speaking to you and sharing their heart, you are listening. And what you're doing is you're listening to the themes, you're listening to the reasons why, what's the emotion they're feeling, what are they frustrated about, why are they frustrated about it? And then you're able to articulate it and put it in your own words and give it back to them. And to say something like, so what I heard you say is this, whatever it was. And then lo and behold, that's where a conversation's happening. Your spouse was speaking, you were listening, and then you could have a conversation about it. So see, that's why listening really is such an important piece to a healthy relationship and to communication. If you're not listening, if one person doesn't choose to listen, then you're not having a conversation, and therefore you're not communicating. So for any of you that are out there that have looked at listening as this passive thing, I don't want to listen, I just want to speak and present my own perspective, recognize how important listening is. If you want to have a healthy marriage, if you want to have good communication in your marriage, you're going to have to do both. You're going to have to be able to articulate yourself, right? And you're talking and expressing yourself, but you're also going to need to choose to be a good, active listener. So use those questions below. Talk about this with your spouse. Figure out how you both can grow in the art of listening.